So there's been a lot of virtue signaling because of the Uvalde shooting, and people are saying we got to get rid of assault weapons, and now they're saying they want to get rid of us. They want to raise the age. This is their big solution. This is their virtue signal. We're going to raise the age of when you could buy an assault weapon from 18 to 21. Hey, we're going to raise the age of when you could drop a nuclear bomb to 25.
Oh, good.
What?
What a relief.
What the? So now, now I'm blanking on the guy, Massie, Congressman Massie. This is Nadler. He's that POS who runs this committee, and his name is Jerrold. Jerry Nadler. So he is the one pushing for this raising the age of the assault weapons ban. And watch Thomas Massie, who's a libertarian, completely reveal that this guy is a douche of douches. Watch this.
We recognize different ages for different purposes. We recognize 18 for the draft. We recognize 16 for driving in some states. We recognize 21 for drinking. So we recognize different ages for different purposes. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Could I have a second to engage that?
Certainly. I'll yield to the gentleman from Kentucky.
Would the chairman join me in co-sponsoring a bill to raise the draft age to 21?
No.
But the chairman feels that their brains aren't fully formed at 18, 19, and 20.
The research does indicate that in certain respects, but the Selective Service needs, I mean, if the country needs people, it needs people.
It needs people whose brains aren't fully formed?
In certain respects, yes.
He's telling the truth.
So what we need is 18-year-old kids whose brains aren't formed enough to make logical, rational decisions to go kill other people because we told them to without using that rational or logical conclusions and decisions. Isn't that amazing? Hey, I'll see your virtue signal and I'll raise you a draftee. And it's that I want to hear it again.
Different ages for different purposes.
Different ages.
We recognize 18 for the draft. We recognize 16 for driving in some states. We recognize 21 for drinking. So we recognize different ages for different purposes. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Could I have a second to engage that?
Certainly. I'll yield to the gentleman from Kentucky.
Would the chairman join me in co-sponsoring a bill to raise the draft age to 21?
No.
But the chairman feels that their brains aren't fully formed at 18, 19, and 20.
The research does indicate that in certain respects. The Selective Service needs, I mean, if the country needs people, it needs people.
It needs people whose brains aren't fully formed?
In certain respects, yes.
So wouldn't that make you a monster if you wanted people whose brains aren't fully formed to not be able to buy a rifle, but give him that same rifle and send him to another country to kill people he doesn't know? That doesn't sound crazy to you? That doesn't sound like you're a monster, a maniac, a homicidal, bloodthirsty oligarch? So you don't want them to be able, their brains aren't formed enough to buy a gun here in the United States, but their brains are formed enough to give them that gun. And he didn't even say their brains are formed. He's like, no, they're not, but we need cannon fodder.
In fact, we're putting together a crack team of school shooters to head into the worst battle zones in the world.
I'm at a loss for words on this one. It's like, this is just the way I see it is this is a power grab. Once you begin teaching younger generations that, like, yes, it's okay for Congress to begin taking away your rights, it's not going to stop. Like, it doesn't stop with freedom of speech or privacy rights, and they'll go further and further until we have nothing left. And I mean, I'm not a gun nut or anything, but I see what they're doing. I see that they're banning these mags that can only fit in certain guns, and they're going to be essentially doing de facto bans of basic guns that people have, handguns, because they're not going to be able to get the mags for them. It's really scary what they're doing.
Well, you know, I think we should ban assault weapons. I don't think anybody needs a military-style weapon in their possession. I mean, how much that would stop these? According to the stats that we showed on the show the other day, the the mass shootings really exploded when the assault weapons ban was repealed. Now, most people are killed by handguns through suicide. That they don't ever tell you that part. So there's that. Now, I understand people who are afraid to give up their guns. I understand that argument, right? Because you look at Waco and stuff like that when the government just slaughters people. And
Uvalde that just happened where they kept the parents from, so we're not going to protect you and you can't protect yourself.
Right. So the cops aren't going to protect you, and then they won't even allow you to protect yourself. So I get the argument. I still fall on the other side. I think if you look around the world, the other countries, that at least we should at least license you. You should at least have to be licensed to have a gun.
Where do you stand on bump stocks? Do you feel like that's where the we got? You're always saying ban bump stocks, like that was the difference maker.
Well, that was because that guy in Las Vegas was using that to make it into a machine gun, right? And so
that doesn't make it a machine gun. It just braces it on your arm. It's a
is
stock,
that it?
you know?
I don't know.
It's just the butt of a gun.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like a cosmetic nonsense. Like you either got to take everybody's guns away because okay, take it down. Then they're going to shoot with the other guns you have left. So you got to like. It's kind of either or you got to have, I don't know, have a country where you don't breed suicidal maniac killers too. You could try that.
Joe Biden's talking about banning 9mm now. It's like, I mean, I guess I think there should be a debate about it, but the thing is, these debates always trend in one direction, and it's the people losing their power and the oligarchs getting more control over all of us.
You think that us having more guns in America than people gives us more power against our government? Because I don't think it does.
I think it does. I think it does.
A little bit. There's a threat because they like Canada. I like how the shootings happen here, and Canada has to have their guns taken away.
Isn't that crazy? I know. I saw that.
Canada's being punished for our behavior.
Well, it's all virtue signaling, right? Trudeau's the king of virtue signaling. So is the Democrats. That's all this is.
Yeah, right.
I don't think anybody. I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to deal with. You can say the NRA all you want, but if you know any gun nuts, they think the NRA are pussies. Like they don't like them. A whole bunch of actual people want guns because of the last couple of years of fires and this kind of stuff. So that's who you got to convince. It's not like the NRA. I think the NRA they look at as like giving up guns too much. I swear to God.
Okay. Wow. So I'm here with a couple of gun nuts on the Jimmy Dore show. Jackson Daddy Bay Hinkle and Kurt Metzger. Very pro gun. Very pro gun.
I've never bought a gun.
No, I know if I had a gun, I would shoot my own head off. So I'm not getting a gun. But there are many times I wish I had one, and I'm glad I didn't because I'd be in prison. Glad I didn't.
I had a comedian friend, Franz Cassius in New York, that did like 3 years for a handgun because he had a gun and he waved it at somebody in a traffic dispute. It was like really stupid, and it was automatically 3 years. Wow. It was wild. Like he shouldn't have had it. Like he just shouldn't have had it.
It's a good thing. Good thing he didn't have a joint in his pocket. He would have done 15 years.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Hey, we're doing stand-up comedy in Irvine, California, Las Vegas, San Diego, Salt Lake City, Indianapolis, Louisville, all over the place. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets.